Hi there, my name's Cindy Davis. I'm the content director of AV Technology, and I have the unique pleasure of bringing three CEOs together, and I'm just thrilled. Start off, Ken Eagle, CEO of Hall Research, Ali Haghjoo, founder and former CEO of Hall Research, and Ilya Khayn, former CEO of Atlona. And thank you so much for everyone for being here. We've got a great conversation. And, it's really a special one because it brings together three people who have each played an important role in shaping parts of the pro AV industry over the last 2 decades. Ali founded Hall Research and built a company known for engineering-focused AV innovation. Ilya led Atlona through a tremendous growth period and helped establish the company as one of the leading brands in commercial AV. And you all know Ken Eagle very well, who earlier in his career worked under Ilya at Atlona and is now leading the next chapter after Atlona was acquired and bringing the two companies together under Hall Research. So this discussion is really about leadership, mentorship, legacy, and what the future looks like as one generation passes the torch to the next. So let's get to it. Ali, I'd love to have you start off. When you founded Hall Research, what was your vision for the company?
Well, Cindy, company's roots go back to long ways, 1984, and we actually started an aerospace industry. In fact, our first order was from Northrop Grumman for some sensor signal conditioning equipment. They called them transducer signal conditioning. But that business is a little bit choppy, it's a little bit feast or famine. So I was looking for something that was more steady. And by the early 1990s, the PC and IT market produced a really rich environment for that because there's so many opportunities for innovation there. For example, there were needs for one console, like keyboard, mouse, display, to control multiple computers, or vice versa, be able to access one computer from multiple places. So I decided to design and introduce some products in that line, and that really mushroomed because once you Ilya can probably relate to this. Once you make a product and you go to market and you talk to people, ideas just mushroom. I mean, from everywhere, people come and say, "Why don't you do this? Why could you use this other thing?" So right away, we got into KVM switches, console extenders, and video over UTP wasn't that far behind there, and that was like really a big turnaround for us. And so I always believed that you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. So that was one of the visions that I had. Keep several things going. So at the same time this was going on, I still kept the aerospace things going on the side, as well as I have a degree in biomedical engineering, and my wife is a microbiologist, worked with many hospitals. So we were kind of close, understood what the needs were in the laboratory and hospitals. So early on, I developed a couple laboratory products, and that helped later, looking back, that why I did that was so helpful, because right now, Hall Research, a good percentage of the business is medical business, and it has roots back then.
Interesting to hear how those connect today. So what do you think, looking back, what do you think has made Hall Research successful over the years?
Well, I think listening to customers, I alluded to it in my first answer, necessity is really the mother of all invention. And when several customers start asking for the same thing, that's telling you something. That's one aspect. The other aspect of its success is, as you know, in the 90s, 2000s, even now, the rate at which the electronics industry, semiconductor industry is advancing is exponential. So there's opportunities that are coming from that didn't exist before, like certain things that maybe people were asking for, but it would have been way too expensive to do or just impossible to do, all of a sudden become possible and cheap. So having an eye on the technology, having a strong engineering department, I think was key for us. I personally like to say it's like off-label medicine use. When there's a drug and they use it off-label, means it's not what it's intended for, but it works for that too. Is like in the early days, the DSL that was sending internet to your home through telephone wires. uh, when I was looking at that, I thought, oh, this really kind of lends itself well, these integrated circuits that they're producing for that, for transmitting video over a twisted pair. Why don't I use it for that? And so that was like an off-label use of that technology, and we were one of that enabled us to be one of the first of video over twisted pair extender companies. And so I
Wow,
think
that really
those
was
are,
groundbreaking.
yeah, it was because there was a lot of need for it. Before that, to send like a VGA signal, you had to use these 5 coaxial cables and solder them somehow into a HD15 tiny connector, which was very difficult to do. And so the market was just so hungry for a solution that didn't involve that.
That's great. Love hearing that history. So, Ilya, Atlanta became one of the most recognized names in commercial AV. So, looking back, what are some of the key moments that you feel shaped the company's growth?
All right. Well, it's a combination of things. As Ali mentioned, listening the customers and having this culture in the company where, we are customer-centric. I felt like this was a big part of success for Atlona. We were right in the middle. Like everyone in the company was trying to get that feedback and bringing this up to the company so we can execute and move fast. All this that kind of startup mentality was always part of Atlona and also helped us to kind of find this idea and take the calculated risk but move as fast as we can. That's one. Secondly is just being in the right place at the right time. When they entered Pro AV market, I felt like again, hearing from customers, every majority of the customers we were talking about, they were looking for very simple solutions for the meeting spaces or classrooms where, you don't need complex control systems, so you need just a basic auto switching and auto sensing. And listening to customers, we introduced the product, and then we eventually built the whole line of those products, which solve those customer needs. And that really helped with brand positioning and helped us to gain a significant market share. Then, like over the years, we figured we want to bring everything together. So introducing our control platform really helped us now not only talk about products, now we can actually talk about a complete solution, whether it's a conference room, classroom, variety of applications would be covered by this platform. And then most important part is we had a great team of people who were behind Atlona and were helping to share the vision, share the values, and help us to move Atlona to the next level. So yeah, it's a combination of things.
Yeah, I would imagine. So, you talked about, the rapid change, scaling up quickly. And the AV industry is still, of course, actually all of our industries are very changing very rapidly. But what did you learn in building Atlona during such a rapidly changing period in AV?
Well, I would say AV is it's changing so much, and I always say it's very much connected to consumer market. As you see changes in consumer market, you see those new features on your phone or in your car, in your kitchen, and so on. You have those new features available to you as a consumer. You expect the same things in your conference room and the business environment. So why not? And that's why the Pro AV market is moving tremendously fast. You need to stay on top of it, and again, you need to listen to the customer, understand what's coming, and be fast and be very reactive. Listening the customers and I would say relationships. Build strong relationships. Sometimes in most cases, they are more important than the products. So.
Oh, absolutely. I think everybody would agree there. So, Ken, We've known each other for many years. I've seen you through a lot of your different careers, and your story really is unique because you worked for Atlona earlier in your career,
Yeah.
and under Ilya, and now years later you're leading Hall Research after Atlona was acquired. Did you ever imagine that your career would come full circle like this?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And to be, in a one word answer, no. Looking back, no, I'd never imagined it. That being said, where we are today, I'm not at all surprised by, the fact that the three of us are sitting here and having this conversation. I'll go back in time a little bit. It was probably, I don't know, 2012, maybe 2013. And I had met Ilya and his brother Michael, and we began talking a little bit about the opportunity. And they brought me out to California. We talked a little bit out there. I can remember sitting on a Teams call like this with Ilya, interviewing and just, at that point talking about where sales were going, the growth of the company, and a training program. I spent a lot of years there helping Atlona build a training program, and I got to meet a ton of people while doing that. So there were so many things happening with Atlona at that time. I didn't know what I didn't know back then. I knew products really well. I learned so much about the business under Ilya and his brother Michael, and the different aspects of it, and the training and meeting with customers, and all those things that I learned. I kept with me. You use them, you take those on. I began at Hall Research a few years ago, and then as the VP of engineering at that point. And then shortly later moved into the CEO role, which, and look, I've never been a CEO before. This is all new ground for me. So at this point now, Ali and I had a great relationship, and kind of under his mentorship kind of showed me the ropes of being the CEO and taking the ball now and what I learned in the previous years and bringing that all together so that we could be where we are today. So no, looking back, I certainly didn't anticipate that we'd ever be here. But when I step back and kind of break down the path, it's easy to see how we got here, and it's not surprising. And you've got people the caliber of Ilya and Ali here. You can pretty much do anything you want.
Well, I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot there because, you say you had never been a CEO before. Well, everybody steps into their first role for the first time, right? So,
yeah.
Both Ilya and Ali, let's take us back a little bit. It really is about mentorship. I mean, Ken wouldn't be where he is today if it, from what it sounds like, if it hadn't been for both of your mentorships and influential companies that you had already built. So what does it feel like watching the next generation take over? Ali, go ahead.
Sure. Well, to be honest, Ken is got such natural instincts and talents for being a great CEO. He has the ability to see the big picture while at the same time focusing on things that need attention. And he's a wonderful communicator, both with the customers and the employees. He's earned the respect of his employees. And he's also very knowledgeable. He just said, when he first joined Hall, he was director of engineering. So that really kind of goes well with the CEO position because having all the above characteristics is pretty much as rounded a person can be to be a successful CEO. As far as what I could offer him was mainly advice for continuity of management and products maybe that we were working on. So we have, a product development roadmap could continue and an introduction to some key customers. We actually went and visited some key customers together to make sure that they weren't feeling jittery about this. And of course, as we all know, you meet Ken, he instills confidence because when he's relaying some information to you, you feel the knowledge and the honesty and the ability behind.
So, Ilya, it must have been interesting for you to hear that Atlona had been acquired, and Ken, and geez, full circle, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's Ken CEO. What's your reaction, and I would say, how in your working relationship, mentorship with Ken,
Yeah.
how are you seeing that play out in the company today, and what Ken's doing?
Well, when I learned about the news, I was definitely genuinely happy for Ken. As you know, we worked with Ken for many, many years. He's seen it all. He's seen various phases in the company. At the time at Atlona, Ken and his team built an amazing training program. I'm sure lots of dealers out there are very much familiar with this program. It's been very impactful, and he was always in front of the customers. He was always he understands the company. He understands the culture of the company. I feel like he is very well positioned to continue to drive the innovation, continue to grow the company, move it to the next level, move it to the next chapter. So excited for Ken.
Thank you.
And I'm going to ask you, what do you, as a fairly new, I mean, it's actually been a little while now. So as a fairly new CEO, though, let's hear some takeaways that as a new CEO that you've can take away from your role with Ali and Ilya.
Yeah, they've both helped shape me a lot in what I do. I'd had the good fortune, I guess, early on in my career of being involved as an integrator. And so, as an integrator and as an installer, I had spent time, late in an evening on a Friday when the job's not complete and things weren't going well, and you can't go home until that job is done and you're taking care of that customer. So I got to learn some of that. And then when I began working with Atlona, with Ilya, we learn how do you expand that? And I'm touching so many customers. I'm just not the customer here. I was on the integrator side of the fence. Now I'm on the manufacturer side of it. And I really learned a lot from working from Ilya on the manufacturer side and what it means to be a good manufacturer and what it means to take care of and represent your customer at every point. And then moving on into the role at Hall, working with Ali, we kind of took things to a different level there. We all of a sudden I wasn't maybe dealing with a volume of customers that I saw under Atlona, but I was dealing with very critical customers in very high, very tense environments where things are very critical, like the medical space, which was new to me. And so working with Ali, I began to learn from him what it's like to take care of a customer in that kind of environment, when you're in this critical application where you can't have downtime or failure, and you're responsible around the clock for your product up and running for that customer. So there was a whole new level of critical thinking and reaction and planning that I learned once I came to Hall and got to work under Ali. So when you combine both of those together, along with my background as an installer starting out, it really gave me a pretty good round view of a lot of parts of the company. And I think that's been a big reason for my success in this role, is I've been able to work in a lot of different roles and be mentored under people who already knew a lot. I didn't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. I could learn from people who had done it before me.
Yeah, and from what I've seen, I've interviewed each of you over the years, and I know that you've still got a very Ali didn't just hang you out to dry there when you took over as the CEO.
Thankfully, yes.
Yeah, nice. So, was there a sense that the company was ending one chapter and beginning another, and each of you, would love to hear your opinion in chat.
Yeah, well, obviously you have to innovate. You can't get stale in this business. So there's always the chapters are ending and new chapters are starting, and Ken has the vision to be able to see what we need, what the market needs, what the technology is capable to deliver. And I can't reveal to you what we have in the pipeline, but I think we're ready for a quantum leap in the next couple of years.
Oh, this interview is about revealing, by the way. I always get a reveal out of my interviews. So, and then I'm going to hand it over to Ken, but no, really. So what responsibility? I mean, it's this huge responsibility carrying forward two brands, and actually, you've recently uh, done some smaller brands under the Hall Research, but you've got two brands here with so much history behind them. What kind of responsibility does that feel for you?
Well, it's first off, it's an incredible amount of responsibility because there's so much history in both of these brands. Not only just the products and the engineering and the employees, but the customers. There are so many installations, like Ali dating all the way back to 1984 with Hall products in those installations, and there are just globally. There's so much at Loan product out there from Ilya and his brother and all the years they spent. So there is a lot of responsibility to represent all of those people over the years who invested in both of these brands, who still are using the product, who are expecting the product to run, to be serviced, and who want to come back in the future and purchase again. And so, the responsibility going forward is to represent those customers and new ones to make sure that we have the best product, that we have it in stock, and that we're listening to the voice of the customer and the industry, and we're coming out in a timely way with products that are relevant to the technology and the way it's being used. And so, as Ali mentioned, we've got a lot of stuff on our roadmap right now. We revealed some of that, Cindy, you and I, on a call earlier in the spring. We kind of announced the rollout of the multi-brand platform. And then at InfoComm, we showed more products. We'll be at ISC in Barcelona in February, launching more, and we have a 5-year roadmap already detailed out of where we're going. No, not knowing what's necessarily coming in 5 years, but planning and putting the resources in place so that we can adjust and be there. We want our customers to know this is a brand. These are brands that will be around into the future with relevant products.
So interesting, obviously, 5-year roadmap. I mean, all good CEOs should have one. But 5 years, my gosh, if you look 5 years ago, would anyone have predicted where we are now? I mean, you couldn't have, right? So let's talk about how the industry's changed. I mean, Ilya and Ali, I mean, gosh, Ali, you've seen the most changes. So let's just do a little bit like even 5 and 10 years ago. I don't think we even have to go back 15 years ago. What are some of the most significant changes that you've seen that have gotten us to where we are here today? And discussion. Open that up. And Ali, let's start with you, and Ilya and Ken, please chime in on that.
Well, I think technologies have matured and have gotten better. User experience has improved. There was some hesitancy in the beginning because of compatibility issues. You hook things up and they wouldn't work, and now that's gotten much smoother. So this really is helping out. And video over IP, the different ways of doing it. You can do it 8K, 60, 4K, no compression or very low compression or various amounts of compressions. There's different options for you to take on in that field and offer different products for different segments depending on the need in that segment. So I think also technologies that have matured, like USB-C, HDMI itself has matured. Is much more reliable than it used to be. And control system, wireless technologies. Things just keep coming. So I think this is some innovation that's never going to stop. And like you said, it's very, very hard to predict 5 years into the future what's going to be like. Yeah, like 5 years ago, nobody knew AI was going to just basically run the economy and everything and basically infiltrate every aspect of corporate and even people's lives. So it's hard to predict. But like Ken said, it's good to at least have the pieces in place to take advantage of those technologies as they develop.
I could mention a few things. Again, I've been a little bit out of the industry for some time, but just being here on the sidelines, I would say maybe the 3 key things which I felt impacted. The biggest impact is definitely AV and IT have merged into the one piece. That's a big one. Ali mentioned the customer experience. Early days, we talked about connectors, adapters, extenders, and so on. Now it's more about user experience and what exactly I want to do in the meeting space or conference room, classroom, and so on. And devices are getting smarter with AI. You wanted to know that's a reality. Again, you're expecting this on consumer side. It's happening across the board, and you have the same expectations in the business side and commercial. Pro AV world, you expect the devices to get smarter. So those are I feel like big changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say, Cindy, too. I mentioned AI, not in terms of the product. I think Ali and Ilya mentioned a lot of interesting things about the product. But when you think about AI, I'm sure it'll begin to infiltrate products. We're already seeing that happen in cameras and microphones and such. But think about how AI actually affects how we run our business, how we handle things like day-to-day tasks, in marketing, in sales, in building things like customer portals and providing data and reports back to our key customers. AI has changed the way we do business, and that affects the customer experience. It affects our ability to generate a better customer experience, a faster customer experience in a lot of ways. And then on the product side, to do things like, maybe program or write firmware in ways that we couldn't before using AI, and in faster ways, get to market with product faster. So a change like AI is interesting because not only does it affect our product and what we make and sell, it affects the way that we actually run our business and do business and communicate. And I don't think in my recent memory in business that we've ever seen something like that could fully change the way we communicate and do business, not just our product. So it's a lot to take in, and it's happening so darn fast. It's like, how do you keep up with it? Every day there's a new podcast and new information, and you're learning something new, and you're watching people grow and businesses change. So that's something that's important to us, that we stay on top of that we continue to put that customer service experience at the top, as well as our product reliability and functionality.
Absolutely. And Ilya had mentioned, early on it was about devices and connectivity. Mm-hmm. And I've been writing about this industry for 20 years, and it really was like, okay, how do you get this thing to plug in and work? Just that was big enough. But now it really is about the end user experience, and because everybody should be able to go into any room, plug in, and have it work. And that is the nirvana. Hopefully we'll get new devices are being created every day, so there's always going to be some little hiccups, but we're so much further ahead. And in the past 5 years, obviously, there's a real hybrid environment now, and that's not going away. So it's really interesting to hear all of your perspectives, and what AI is going to do, because that we don't even know what AI is going to be doing with the impact AI is going to be having in our industry next year. We can only be prepared, right, Ken? I mean, that's your job now.
Yeah, exactly.
So speaking of that, how is Hall Research positioning itself for this new era?
Yeah, so this is something that, after the acquisition a year ago now, we kind of kept the businesses up and running kind of as they were for about 9 months at Lona and Hall, while in the background we worked on that exact plan. What is this organization going to look like, and how is it going to be represented as we move forward to our customers? And with your help, Cindy, we actually rolled out a plan in beginning of Q2 as we started last year, and then kind of completed that at Infocom in Las Vegas last month, where we came out and said, we've taken these two brands, Hall Technologies and at Lona, and there's a little bit of overlap in product and what we do, and then there's unique verticals that both specialize in. And we said, the best way to do this going forward is we're going to take Hall Technologies, which, as Ali had mentioned, has been especially good in the medical AV vertical for many years. And so we really focused that brand going forward on the medical segment of audiovisual. And then we've taken all of the sort of maybe audiovisual centric products from Hall and moved them over into the sort of Atlona side of the business. So Atlona really represents our sort of AV, Pro AV installation segment going forward, while Hall Technologies represents the medical side of it going forward. And we expect both of those organizations to grow and to do more over the next few years, more products, better representation, more customers will begin having access to those products. And on the Pro AV side, because there's so much to unpack under just Atlona, because you've got, signal management and extension, you've got control, you've got AV over IP products, there's audio products, there's cable products. There's a lot there under one brand. So in order to make it easier for our customers and to give people access to products where they might only want a piece of, we decided to break those kind of key categories up into their own unique brands. So going forward, Atlona represents all the signal management and distribution products. That'd be all your HD-based T products, extenders, switchers, and AV over IP products, and the velocity control system. And then we spun off a brand called Gain Audio, and we use the name Gain from the Atlona Audio side of things. And so Gain Audio has become its own audio brand, using the best audio products from Hall and from Atlona come together. You now have an audio brand. Oftentimes, we find a lot of customers are looking for an audio brand. They might not need control or signal distribution, but they might want to use Gain Audio, and it operate standalone as an audio company in addition to supporting Atlona customers. And then we did the same thing with our unified communication and collaboration tools. As since COVID, that has become such a boom, that just blew up with how do we communicate with everyone, from speaker bars to cameras to microphones to all-in-one sort of appliances. That's what you find under the brand we now call Captivate. It's all those UCC products. And then the last kind of brand category we built was a company brand called Javelin, which represents all of our cables and accessories for the industry, as that's historically been a very large segment for both companies. Everybody's looking for a premium cable brand. Javelin is a great one. And when you bundle Hall, Atlona, Gain, Javelin together, you've got an ecosystem, a catalog of products you can build almost anything you want out of, all under one umbrella. That's called Hall Research. So it's kind of an ecosystem now for customers to come in and shop from. You can buy the whole thing. That's what I recommend, because these products are all engineered to work seamlessly together. But if you just wanted cables or just wanted audio or just wanted two pieces, you can come in and buy just what you need. So as we move forward over the next few years, we expect more of this kind of unified ecosystem under Hall Research. As that grows, that customers will be able to come and find whatever they need, almost a one-stop shopping kind of mentality.
And this new branding, and this is fully rolled out as of the spring, correct?
Yeah. As of the spring, the start of Q2. So basically April, we went live with that. The new website, hallresearch.com, is where you'll find all of that. And if you still go to the old websites, halltechav.com or atlona.com, they just redirect you right to the hallresearch.com website. Everything is there. And all of the products customers were generally used to getting, you'll find there. If they become old and move out of the catalog, you'll find them in the legacy section, and you'll find all the new products in there as well, including the ones that just maybe switched branding, even though it's the same product. We wanted to make it as easy as possible for customers to go to one place and find anything they need.
Wonderful. So, all righty, let's talk. Even though we can't predict the future, that is your job, Ken. Is to predict the future as much as you can. So looking ahead, 3 to 5 years, what do you really want Hall Research to become?
Well, I think I'll continue off where we just were. I like the idea of it being an ecosystem of brands. So as customers think about Hall Research, they think we could do a small huddle space out of this brand. We could do a complicated conference room. We could do an entire casino, or a hospitality venue. There's a lot of options there, or it can be mixed with some other brands. So what I would like it to become for our customers, a place where they can get answers, whether they buy the products directly from Hall Research or not. They know it's a place where they can learn, understand what the industry is looking for, and know that the products are there when they're ready for them. So if we can get that message across, and I think we're doing our job the right way.
Nice. So, Ali and Ilya, Ken's laid out the 5-year plan in detail. I still want to reveal that you can. What would make you most proud watching the future of Hall Research as it unfolds? Ali, I'll start with you.
Well, to be honest, I'm already proud of what Hall Research has achieved, especially last year, with the acquisition of Atlona. Is such a great synergistic combination of the two companies together that it made sense, and I think I'm proud of that. I'm proud to say that that this Ken has laid on this branding where because what happens is companies get pigeonholed into one product category. For the longest time, when somebody said, Hall, what does Hall make? It's the mini cat, this video over cat 5. But we made a lot of other things. But people, and at the trade shows, you would see people come, I didn't know you made this. I didn't know you made this. So having this branding buckets and allows people to have the awareness that, oh, no, this new company, Hall Atlona, has different things for audio, for control, for video over IP, for different segments. So I think that's wonderful, and I'd be proud to see that succeed in bringing a new level of customer interaction and with the Hall, with the company.
Ilya, how about you? What would you like to most see, and what would make you most proud watching the future company unfold?
Okay, let me. Well, if I look in the company, let's say like 10 years from now, the company continues to innovate, continues to have great trust with customers, continues to be run by the great team of people, I'll be pretty happy. So those are my things.
Can't get better than that. So, alrighty, what excites you the most? I mean, we're really in an exciting time in innovation overall. What excites you most about the where the pro AV industry is heading? And love to have a conversation with all of you. And Ken, why don't you start off with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks, Cindy. So, I think it was Ali mentioned earlier, maybe Ilya, but it's sort of the historic conversion of this AV and IT space. We've seen that happen. It's not new anymore. We're in the middle of it. But you think about where it is today and where that will take us in 5+ years down the road. We still do a lot of circuit-based solutions, and I think we'll still see a lot of these sort of point-to-point applications that are out there. But the kind of AV over IT space is even though it feels like we've been talking about it for 10 years, we're still kind of at the infancy of this because we're still mixing it with so many other kind of circuit-based and closed solutions. But when we really begin to use AV over IT and we combine that with AI, we are opening up. I don't even know what it's going to look like in a few years from now, but so much is going to be layered on top of this now as we add AI onto this AV over IT convergence that what we look at on our roadmap and our products today, I think will look very different in 5 years from now. And I think that's pretty exciting and it's worth watching. We have to watch that.
Yeah, absolutely. Ilya?
I'm excited about the fact that, the enterprise AV will become as intuitive as the consumer electronics. Yeah, it just becomes, you don't need to talk about technology. It's somewhat a plug and play. You scan a QR code and everything works. That's
Yeah.
I feel like with AI and automation and other things which in the works nowadays, that's possible.
Ali?
Well, I'm excited to see how people employ AI in their products. It's kind of difficult to do it because AI is not really designed to go into a little distribution amplifier or something like that. So you have to think out of the box as to how you can use that technology. But there's so many ways to do it as AI gets more powerful. For example, AI can recognize what is on the screen, can actually be able to like respond by gestures, gesture control or things like that, or make the controls so intuitive to expect what you're trying to do. And it already shows a lot of software. There's less things to click; things are more intuitive to use. As Ilya mentioned. You just want to just scan a QR code and have everything work. And I think AI is going to help in that goal.
I certainly think that potential's there, and people are really excited about that as potential. And I think it's going to be coming sooner than later. I think. So, Ken, um, let's go back again. If you look at the younger version of Ken working at Lona, what advice would you give him?
Yeah, this question, typically when you hear this asked, people will say, I could go back and talk to myself. I'd say, have more fun, relax, more, those kind of things. And sure, that's probably all true. But honestly, as I think back, I think I would tell myself, invest in people more, uh, make friends with the people you work with, deeper connections. The people you put around you are so important, and they really shape your business and how successful you'll be. And we do this every day. So much of our life goes into work, into the business, into what we do. That the people around you, you should have confidence in them. You should enjoy being with them. They should enjoy being there, working with you. And I learned that now a lot being CEO today and having a large staff of people. I focus an incredible amount of my time on our company culture and to make sure that people enjoy being here. And this is a positive place to work. And I want that to show to our customers as well. And so I would think that's one thing I would go back and tell myself earlier on is make sure you understand how to do that. Know who you work with, build an enjoyable place to work, and invest in those people.
Yeah, sounds like a great philosophy. Ali, you've been a CEO for so many years and shaped a really great company. What one lesson about leadership or business would you hope the next generation never forgets?
I think Ilya mentioned too. It's the company is not the CEO, is not the building, is not the products. It's the people, and respect. You have to earn the respect of your employees. They have to trust you. They have to be no apprehension to come in and point out something that they think is better than what you have to be open to ideas, and if you can do that, I think you're going to be successful. That would be something that I think is a hallmark of any good CEO. The people around and the people that work for them are proud of where they are and are happy with the company culture. If you can foster that, you'll be successful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ilya, I know you certainly a lot of what you did at Lona really embodied a lot of those aspects. So what advice would you have for the next generation?
Yeah, very much agree with what's already been said. I would say never stop learning. So be humble. You don't know everything. listen to your customers, listen to your product managers, your salespeople, your engineers, collect all the data, analyze it. And then second one is adapt to change quickly. So be nimble. So be humble, listen, be nimble, move fast, try to execute on this as fast as you can. And the third one, as everyone already mentioned, is invest into people. Great people build great companies. So invest into people.
Absolutely. Great advice for life. This has really been an amazing conversation. It really represents something rare in business, not just entrepreneurship, innovation, but continuity, mentorship, and trust across generations of leadership. Ali built Hall Research, Ilya built at Lona, and now Ken is leading the next chapter in bringing those together under Hall Research. Thank you so much, all three of you, for sharing your experiences and perspectives today.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Cindy.
Thanks, Cindy.
Thank you, Cindy. That was great. Thank you.